This Hangout, everybody, is on air live now. Welcome, everybody. This is Matt Monarch with the Raw Food World. Wow, look at all this stuff. This is mine. You can like see it over here. Let's see. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm in Ojai, California, rocking the house, loving it. And so just wrapping things up here, and we're about to have a live hangout. Let's do it. It's the end of the day here in Ojai. People are still here, going home, whatever. Okay, so let's find these questions. All right, we got lots here. Okay. See you guys. A question about oxalates. There seems to be conflicting evidence about oxalates in the cooked food world. They talk about boiling your spinach and tossing the water versus, I have read Dr. Norman Walker's books that boiling high oxalate foods increase the problem with oxalates, and eating high oxalate foods raw will increase peristaltic motion and is very much needed to ensure proper, he didn't say it was needed to ensure proper movement of the food through the body. It's not needed, he just said it would benefit. Dr. Norman Walker says exactly heating oxalates foods is the problem of oxalates. That's what he does say. Well, I'm eating 100% raw, so don't heat any oxalates. So that isn't a problem, but I have heard that one should not rely on high oxalate foods for calcium, as the oxalates will interfere with calcium absorption. For this reason, I now no longer juice high oxalate foods, as I assume extremely high oxalate foods amount could be present in my juice, which will hinder the absorption of calcium, which is the whole point why I'm juicing. Well, they say carrot and spinach juice is really good for that, but there's also other things you can do that's really good for that, such as carrot, dandelion, and turnip greens is supposedly the best for that. But to get nutrients, so I'm sticking to juicing lower oxalate greens like kale, cabbage, lettuce, and broccoli. So I figured it may be best to eat high oxalate greens like spinach, dandelion, and parsley, which still are very nutritious with a lot of other vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients in salads instead of juicing them. And the salads do the thing they are supposed to do, provide fiber and enable peristaltic motion as otherwise, other than juicing. The needs for fiber in the diet is missing. And I do juice plenty daily. Any thoughts? Absolutely. My first thought is I'm pretty impressed with your reasoning and stuff like here. For example, Dr. Norman Walker, who's a very prominent individual, says it's okay, but it doesn't feel right to you. And you're going against what somebody in high position thinks. And I think that's awesome. Is there even a possible way to prove any of this, whether it's good or not good? Probably not. It's impossible. What, you're gonna spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on clinical studies, seeing what happens, taking blood tests and stuff like this? There is something deeper than all of this in terms of regards to health, which has to do with the whole entire spiritual world. But from here, you know, high oxalate foods, like for example, me personally, I don't get to juice spinach in Ecuador because the spinach out there is not really spinach. It's like a New Zealand spinach, they call it, or something like that. And it's whack. It's like probably really high oxalate, like you wouldn't even want to touch it. But regardless, now that I'm in the States, I'm like drinking carrot spinach juice all the time because I have it actually to my hand. I have the ability to do that. I am a big fan of Norman Walker, so I kind of tend to agree more with him than what I hear from other people in the mainstream. But I do think that raw oxalates, for some reason, I don't, in spinach, it's not, it is supposedly high in oxalic acid. But if you look at that compared to like beet greens or chard, that's just like more intensity, while spinach isn't that intense. So when I look at it that way, from an intuitive standpoint, high oxalate foods, I probably wouldn't want to get too much of it, but spinach I have no problem with for some reason. The intensity isn't high, but yeah. So this is something to seriously. All right. So okay, what we're going to do is go on to my phone. Try on. Come on. All right, guys, I think I'm back. My connection got a little bit messed up. Can you guys hear me now? There we go. Sorry, guys. I don't know what happened. Okay, so here we go. We're back. Sorry for this delay, everybody. Grr. Okay, so I guess you didn't hear me let's read Terry's question now. Hi, Matt. When I was 22, some bad men attacked me and beat my head in. I went to the hospital when I got away, but the hospital did not take any tests. I am currently suffering with intense spinal, shoulder, head, and neck pain. It has been so bad, I had last week gotten some x-rays. After all these years, it shows my neck, the C4 and C5 are narrow, degenerated. This has caused osteoarthritis. I just wanted to get to a physio and prevent any further damage, and people are telling me I have to have surgery, and I already deal with fear. I say, no! Are you or your wife familiar with how I can help my neck with foods or yoga? I think it is better not to share health issues with people. They can be so extreme. Absolutely. I am trying to stay calm. I feel crippled with anxiety. It is a real spiritual warfare, and I have with fear. I have a lot of somatic symptoms besides my neck that manifest mostly neurological and experiencing this trauma. Matt, have you ever heard of this condition getting better? Thanks as always. Well, Terry. Okay, so what is happening here is a couple of things. Now, while the physical aspects of this situation are really important, there are external forces coming that are not within you that are coming in. It's almost like a spiritual attack. And the physical is important, but there's a whole nother realm going on here that we have to take a look at. Now, again, this is perfect because we just did this other question from another reader about how she, with the oxalates, there's like so many different opinions based on everything. On the internet, you can find anything. And with this, and each situation, like they try to name every thing that a person feels within their being, and with tests and everything, and they've narrowed this down to a C4 and C5 narrowing. But in actuality, everything out there is completely different in every single person, because there is an entire spiritual aspect to all of this also, which is even more profound than the physical, if that makes sense. So one of the main things to do right now is to try to find peace and stay calm within all of the madness. It states, the teacher must also follow his teachings, meaning you teach, Matt, now do. But anyways, so so there is the main thing that you could do in the spiritual level is kind of like stay calm, and you're understanding this on one level to where fear is coming in, and this is the main battle of everything. The physical aspects is important, and you want to deal with that, excuse me, in the best way you can, but it's almost like this. You've been dealt cards in your life. Here's the cards. And now you have these cards, and it's like you have to choose the best path to move forward for you. Your cards are, you have this pain from being beaten. Why was that happen in the first place? Thank you for allowing that to happen, for me to learn what I need to learn. But regardless, so you're on this path and you're dealt these cards, and now you're going to have to choose and make decisions. Are you going to get surgery, or are you not going to get surgery? Me personally, I would probably do everything in my power not to get surgery. That's just me personally. And then I would look at the next options down the road from there. And then from there. And this is part of the human life. We have to deal with these cards and get through it. I mean, we don't want to look at worst case scenarios because that's going into fear. but let's just say you have, and people have all sorts of weaknesses within their physical being. For example, I've had a shoulder issue from working out when I was younger, and you know, I care for it. I do everything I can do. I try to massage it, but to be honest with you, that might be there for the rest of my life. Unfortunately, I mean, anything is possible, but that's a card that I'm dealing with, and I'm making everything possible. Like if I have to live with it, I'm going to do everything in my power to keep the best care of my human body. So it's almost like you're going to choose the best path with the cards that you've been dealt, regardless. It's like a done deal. That's what you're going to do. And now along the way, what there's going to be is what's even extremely important and a bigger threat to your life is the spiritual warfare and aspects along that path that you're choosing. So if you look at it this way, you're going to get to the end point of where you want to be. Now, physically, and how you're going to deal with all this, how gentle it's going to be, and all these other things, how much more you let in to allow this pain, like the spiritual aspects are even more important on healing this issue you have than actual physical, because you're going to handle the physical in the best way you can. This is a logical world. You're going to figure out all the code and everything like that to choose the right ways to take care of your neck or whatever you possibly can. That's what you're going to do. But on the spiritual level, depending on what you do with these people attacking you, what you do with this fear, allowing it or battling it, and this fear and everything, don't fear fear. The goal is to is while you're going through it, it's almost like an attack on you of like scariness, and it's how you react and deal with it, which depends on how much is taken from you, how much is allowed to happen to your neck because you're allowing stuff in on a spiritual level to dwell and drain from there. That's why we always say, no, I am healthy. I am perfectly healthy. I'm doing everything in my power to heal. So there's nothing that is going to stop me, and I'm just going to keep moving. I'm perfectly healthy. I'm happy with my cards that have been dealt. I'm so grateful. Thank you. And then when you feel the spiritual attack, you're not doing anything wrong here. This is good. You're proving yourself. So you just, when the fear comes, you don't want to panic, because then you're accepting it and allowing things in. So it's more like you're going to choose everything. You're like thriving here and ready to go. And you move forward. So having this understanding and then walking the path of choosing these choices, but the main thing of this path is this whole entire spiritual work and dealing with that. And this is what faith is. You're being bombarded. There's a huge energetic fear on top of you. Stay calm, don't panic. And then faith is that string, very small string, like it's the one thing that you have the ability to hold on to where you know everything is going to be okay. It's the only way through with the highest amount of success rate, faith. So the whole physical aspect is important, but that's just like the whole physical logical realm, numbers and letters. So you're going to handle that. That's fine. Now it's all this other garbage that you have to deal with is the real issue. That's what it comes down to. Adam Home writes, hi, Matt. I'm nearly back on 100% raw food diet. We got lots of questions. Sweet. I drink herbal teas, hot cayenne pepper, hot cinnamon, hot thyme, and I take a hot bath with thyme to warm up my body. I also lay hot water bottle on my thighs and sit next to the fireplace. It is cold winter here in Poland. It is snowing. Will hot herbal teas slow my detox? They are not raw. No. you'll be fine. I drink teas, hot herbal teas, and I take 1 teaspoon of psyllium husk and bentonite clay daily. When is it better to take it? In the evening or in the morning? I perform 2 liters of enema daily. Isn't it too hardcore on my body? And there is something about my spirituality. I mean, you're going through some sort of transformation, cleansing. I mean, this is going to be like a lifelong pattern that you're going to do for the rest of your life with the psyllium bentonite and enemas. Then we're looking at problems, probably. Maybe. I mean, maybe you'll be fine. But I personally would do this temporarily. Okay, I was born on May 31st, 1985, about 21 o'clock, and there is a near east Earth asteroid, which is called, okay, and it's approached the Earth within, okay, on May 31st and was the closest approach. I was 28 years old then, and the first 2 numbers of the asteroid was this, 28. Is it a coincidence? I will send you my identity card if you don't believe me. So maybe I am Saint Christopher from Poland. Adam is my nickname, but I don't have ability to perform bilocation or revelation. So maybe after Elizabeth Queen II will die in a cruise ship accident, all of her family members, I will be the king of the United Kingdom. The asteroid is called 9 times larger than a cruise ship. Now she is 89 years old, and when she will be 90 years old, the asteroid is 9 times larger than a cruise ship. She will die, and I will be the king. I'm just kidding. Okay, good. But that asteroid is connected to my spirituality, and I must be raw because it is not, oh, wow, this keeps going, not a coincidence. But what means the next number is 5263, the sum of the first 63. But I don't want to be the king of such unhealthy fat people. Dude. Adam, Christopher. Okay, so there's a trap that I have fallen for numerous times. And what that is we're all important. Don't get me wrong. We're all very, very important beings. We're alive. We're meant to be here. This is great. We're blessed with this gift of mere existence. That means we're very special. But there is a foreign thought that I call these things I've talked in the past that tricks people, which has been me too many times. I've fallen for this. And we've got to watch out for it. And that is, we think we're more important than we really are. And we are extremely important. We don't realize how important we are. But we always talk about ways to get our energy drained that we want to avoid. For example, if you're the type of person, you're married or whatever, and you're just like staring at every girl that walks by and like playing games and vibrations, or if you're into greed or power or insecurity, these are all things that we play with instead of resisting. These are things that drain our energy. And this is just another form of that's happening with you, of where you think you're more important because of an asteroid, something or other, and that you're king of the world or something like that. And you are extremely important, I'm sure, without a doubt. But I've been in situations, and this has happened, even especially when people do things like plant medicine or other things that bring you into those states. These energies become more prominent, and you have less protection a lot of time. And of course, if you do it the right way and ask for protection, but you're still more vulnerable, and there's a lot of testing that goes on. But regardless, this is something to watch out for. Trust me, I've been there. So, and it's not, whether you are a king or you're not a king or spiritual king or whatever you are, that doesn't matter. In order to be a king, one has to not fall for this. One key things is to humble yourself rather than exalt yourself. And there's a reason for that. And that reason is you're going to be thrown down if you do what you're doing right now, you're going to lose spiritual energy. But if you recognize the fact that this is happening and humble yourself, like, I am unworthy, I am lucky to even be alive for all of the evil things that I have done, then you will be exalted. So it's almost like you can never have this attitude of I am special of some way, because that's exalting yourself. It's more like you want to, whenever that comes up, it's just like when greed comes in and we got to do the work to get that out, or when you have this potential to have pride over someone or power, we got to like do the work and get that out, the focus work. This is just another form of that that's a little bit more subtle and tricky. So anything like that, anything that's not that peace state, is an attempt to take your energy, bring you down so you are lower than higher. So basically, it's just that vibrational ball game again. Whenever that comes in, it's like you've got to be like, oh, sorry. And let's just say you are King Christopher and you never, maybe you are. But the reason why you are King Christopher is because you're not doing that. You're removing it. And then you can be gifted more. You see what I'm saying here? We've all been here. Well, I don't know about that. Many of us have been here for eons. And we've done a lot of spiritual work, not just in this form and this body, maybe been here before, on earth before, whatever. And we've done spiritual work. And we've progressed. Or have gone backwards. Some have maybe been extinct because they weren't too good, or maybe exalted to beyond where they're sitting on the table with Lord Jesus Christ. The point of all this is that it's not just growth that has happened from an asteroid. You never know what's going on. But the true growth is a result of how you respond to situations like this. And again, my friend Adam, or Christopher, the teacher has to remember this for himself. It's stated in many scriptures out there. The teacher teaches, but does he perform? Debbie Bullion writes, I just want to say I hope you and your family have a nice Thanksgiving. What do you do for Ojai's birthday? Well, Ojai's birthday, what did we do? We opened presents. She got a little scooter and a Paw Patrol thing or whatever, and a leap pad that she really loves. And we went, she was just playing all day. We went to the park, stuff like that. Nothing like too special. Yeah. Okay, so Adam writes again. I'm after my last coffee enema and I'm so nervous and euphoric I can't do coffee anymore because I am so sensitive, so I will be eating psyllium husk and bentonite for the next months. Good night. It is 1:30 in Poland. You might not want to do, okay, whatever, psyllium bentonite. It could just be hardcore. Okay, Chad writes. Hi, Matt. Thank you for these hangouts. Love them. My name is Melissa. I'm experiencing vertigo and it is getting worse. I keep going to my doctor and leaving with another prescription. I'm seeing an ear, nose, and throat specialist next week for further diagnosis. I am morbidly obese and have been looking at a high-carb, low-fat, vegan whole foods diet for weight loss and to hopefully cure my debilitating vertigo symptoms. I really think my addiction to dairy is part of the problem, as I have had sinus problems my whole life. I believe dairy is connected to my sinus problems, and sinuses are connected to the ears, which control balance equilibrium. I've been doing research. I found some saying that B12 supplements are helpful for these symptoms. How often do I need to use the patches? My husband is also thinking about using them. Does one need to keep B12 patches on all the time? Will we need to supplement them for the rest of our lives? By the way, I'm vegetarian and my husband is pescatarian. I have not had a blood test to get my B12 levels yet, but I have physical set for next month and I will get it tested then. I was wondering if one can overdo B12. Can you talk about how to supplement B12 and what are the risks of too much? Okay, so here's all the no sound things. Okay, we lost sound earlier in the Hangout, guys. It kind of sucked. I didn't realize that the thing went mute. I had the internet, whatever, don't worry about it. Okay, so me personally, if you have a serious B12 problem, you might not because you didn't get your B12 tested, but B12 shots are supposedly the best is what they say. Whether that's true, I don't know. But the B12 patches I have found to be one of the best things available out there. Our B12 patches, we've tested our B12 patches. Well, we haven't tested them in labs. We tried to, but they couldn't figure a way to do it. But you can see the difference in the patches and you feel the difference. We actually gave these B12 patches to a woman who couldn't methylate B12 properly. And she was like bedridden for the day. And she put one on and she was like all over the place. So I do feel that the B12 patches are extremely powerful. So that is something I would definitely check out. In terms of taking it, what you can do is I like to put one on. If I had one here, I'd put one on. I haven't put one on in a while. And then I let it stay there for a couple days, and then I'll take that one off and put another one on. And maybe you want to put a couple on at once if you want to boost your B12 levels up higher. Sometimes I see Angela with a few of them on. It's funny. So yeah, that's pretty much the way to take it. And if you really have a serious issue, you might want to take B12 shots for a while and use this for maintenance. Okay. Okay, so moving along. Oh wow, we're almost, you guys, we need some questions here. Okay, is it really bad, like sabotaging raw foods detox if you have bread? I saw it and had French bread. Could not resist. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Eat tofu, tofurkey, not birds. Is what really bad, like if you have bread? Oh, okay, so look at this. Is it really bad, like sabotaging raw food detox if you have bread? I saw it and have had French bread. Could not resist. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Eat tofurkey, not turkey, not birds. It's almost like a concept here that people are a little worried about. Is it bad, like sabotaging raw food? Okay, you're worried about sabotaging raw food detox because you eat bread. The body, okay, this is just like the raw, this is, now let's just talk about the medical world. It's like similar to the raw food world, not our raw food world, but the raw food realm. There's all these concepts, this disease and that disease. Now we've got the raw food diet. If you have bread, you've destroyed this concept and you've ruined everything. Like you are wanting to be a raw food, but you had bread. Oh no. It doesn't work that way. If you do a 100% raw diet for a long time and you have French bread, you're not going to feel good. And when I say not feel good, you're really not going to feel good. So you're eating French bread and it seems like you're not feeling too bad. So obviously you're not on the raw food diet for a long period of time. So you're playing around, which is fine. This concept is ludicrous anyways, raw foods. You're just eating, you're living. Come on. It's the whole neurosis aspect. I know we've given guidelines and we say bread is really not good for the human body, and obviously in the long run, it's probably not the most ideal thing. Detox, the body's always detoxing. The more you eliminate, the more detox withdrawals you go through. For example, if a coffee drinker eliminates coffee, they're going to go through crazy amounts of withdrawals. So if you're on a cooked whole food standard American diet and you eliminate all that stuff, you're going to go through crazy amount of withdrawals. That's the raw food detox. And then if you eat the bread, it might stop the detox and withdrawals for a while as you process that. And then the body is always going through detox. This is a matter of how much. So the point is, it's not about attempting raw and then coming off raw. It's about looking at the entire picture and where you're at. Can you handle the bread? For example, it could be different for anybody. Maybe for the last week, you've been eating McDonald's and crazy amounts of stuff. And the week after that, you, okay, listen, that's not the example I want to go with. Okay, so it's different for every single person. Like, for example, if I were to have bread, that would totally mess me up because I've been doing this for 2 decades. But if you were to have bread, it's probably no big deal because your overall diet, you have this consistent diet that you eat every day, and you probably have bread on a consistent basis on some sort of level, which is okay. You're not a bad person for eating bread. In the raw food movement, people might make you sound to be out like a bad person for having bread, or meat, especially the vegan people, but regardless. So it's all about where you're at. Maybe you came from the standard American diet and you found out about this you were in the standard American diet and you found out about this raw thing. So now you're playing with the raw food thing and you never touched the standard American diet, and every once in a while you come a little back this way, and this is your realm now, before when it was like this. And now you've got this way improved dietary lifestyle now. It's like you have a higher level of living. Everything is really good now for you, if that makes sense. So this is like actually way better with this bread than where you were before with standard American diet. So you're like made a crazy improvement here, and you're probably doing really well is what I'm getting from this. But then when you go from here to here, there's the whole neurosis aspect of, oh, I've got to be raw, and now this is destroying me and this is destroying me. And now you're freaking out with guilt because you had bread. Now, is the state better in this new state where you freak out spiritually while here you had no issues spiritually? What's more important, the physical or the spiritual? But granted, there is a transition period that the person has to go through spiritually, because spiritual things happen when you do this, and there's more attack on you and stuff like this. You have to make, when you do something like this, you have to make spiritual changes. There's no avoiding it. And when you make spiritual changes, you're fighting for more life, more spiritual life. And when that happens is you're attacked heavier in the spiritual realm. So it even seems more hardcore, and they're going to utilize everything they possibly can in order to not let you get more to where they get less. So therefore, they're going to use this whole neurosis thing with bread if they have the ability to do it. Romy says, hi, Matt. Yes, we need to be humble and the Lord can work with us. All right. Alejandro Romero says, hi, Matt. I was wondering why you have chosen to live in Ecuador and not in Peru or Chile. It just happened that way. And if you have you ever been to Peru and Chile? What is the difference between those countries and Ecuador? I haven't really done much Peru or Chile thing. I'm not saying you have to go to Ecuador. To be honest with you, the people in Vilcabamba, Ecuador, sometimes are pissed off I keep bringing people there. But yeah, there's probably other places like Vilcabamba, it's becoming more and more Americanized. There's more street lights now than I've ever seen before since I got there. Things are happening. So I'm sure there are places in other countries that are different. One thing special about Vilcabamba, though, is there's, like in Sedona, there's vortexes and there's some special stuff about that. Well, there's something special about Vilcabamba also. That's one reason why I like it there. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, so the next thing, Adam writes, we need more questions, guys, if you want me to be here for a long period of time. Matt, I'm after a couple of coffee enemas. I do weird things. I know you've already talked about being Sir King Christopher. Don't be surprised what stupid things I wrote. It was a joke. No, I'm not saying it's stupid. But what do you think about this coincidence? I found that 52 means material food, and anyway, I'm not normal after coffee enema. It's like narcotic. I'm not into coffee enemas. If I did it, I'd probably be in a sense, I'm guessing I'd be in a similar situation because of the caffeine, but I don't know. I've never done it. So I told you what to watch out for when I answered your other question. So it's something you probably want to look into. Okay. Like a little bit of bread, if you eat almost 100% raw for many months, 6 or 8 now, isn't it a big deal if you look at the overall picture? Look at overall improvements. I am not the one who judges whether eating bread is good or not for you. This is for you to decide. How did you feel? Were you okay? Like, I don't know. This is like your own thing. We're running out of questions, guys. But let me tell you of a story that happened to me today. It was pretty crazy. So I came home. I'm actually doing the whole 9 to 5 thing at the Raw Food World for lunch. And I didn't get to get a vegetable juice. So I pulled out the E3 Live, frozen E3 Live from the freezer. And I was taking a knife and I was breaking the ice so I could just like suck on one of the pieces. I talked about this in one of my newsletters. And I was like all in a rush and everything like this. And I stabbed myself. And it went like seriously a quarter, like, I mean, over a centimeter, maybe an inch straight into my hand right there. Look at that. And it was this huge hole. This happened today. There was this huge hole in my hand. And what I did was I just held it up and did it tight. And like, it was crazy. It was like a big gash. So Angela's like, all right, we should go to the hospital. So I go to the hospital. I don't have medical insurance. We get to the hospital and I'm like, okay, can I see a doctor? I just stabbed myself by accident. And they say, they're like, where's your medical insurance card? I'm like, oh, I don't have insurance. And I'm like, I just want to go see the doctor, maybe get this stitched up or something like this. And how much would that cost? I asked. And she's like, well, they wouldn't, it was like, we got in this conversation to where they couldn't give me a cost, but if I go see him, there would probably be a bill of like, she said, we normally request a $500 deposit. And that would be the minimum of the payment just to take care of this thing right here. And I heard her say something like, he might stitch it, he might glue it, I don't know. And I'm sitting here bleeding, and she was rude on top of it all. Like, how could I even be, regardless, whatever. So I'm sitting here like, there's no way I'm paying $500 for a doctor right now to see me on this. And I was thinking later, I was like, maybe I should get medical insurance for situations like this. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, forget it. I'm out of there. So I'm like, what can I do? I was holding it up like this above my head. There wasn't much blood because I took care of it right away. I went straight to the Ojai shipping department, took a bottle of hydrogen peroxide, poured it on. All the nerves are like dead in there, so I didn't even like feel it. So I took this hydrogen peroxide and I started talking to my friend, and I was telling him about the situation. Angela and I were thinking put dragon's blood on there with butterfly band-aids. And I did that with this other hole in my arm that I had from flying in the sky with the water jetting. Remember if you saw that video? And it worked. It was just a little messy blood. It would continue to bleed for days because butterfly things aren't perfect, but it's completely gone. And the dragon's blood was awesome. Supposedly heals it 4 times faster, but regardless. So I'm on the phone with my friend saying like, what should we do? And he's like, you know what? This isn't the most organic approach, but when me and my family, this happened to me, what we would do is we would crazy glue it shut. And Angela's like, she's like, I wouldn't do that. It's like toxic and stuff like that. And I'm like, I remember dealing with this other slice that was pretty deep here, and I didn't like dealing with it because it was always bleeding, getting infected, and stuff like this. So I'm trying to figure out, we decided to go to this old school pharmacy here in Ojai. It wasn't a mainstream pharmacy. It was more of an old school one. So we thought it would be kind of, you guys better ask more questions, or this would be the last thing. But I was thinking maybe this would be they would have the stuff I needed to take care of this in a natural way. We were thinking, they talked about this glue thing. Maybe they have this glue that the surgeons use, or the people who stitch use. So we go to the pharmacy, and I talked to the pharmacist. I'm like, do you have anything like that for this? And he's like, no, you should go to the emergency room. I'm like, I don't have insurance, and they want to charge me a minimum of $500. He's like, I don't know what to tell you. You couldn't give me any advice. He wanted to help, but he can't legally, you know what I mean? So he didn't have any glue or anything like this. And I'm like, do you have those butterfly stickers? Like those butterfly band-aids? He's like, yeah, right here. He gives me one. And he's like, there's also these other ones that are new that are even better that everyone buys. They're like longer things that you are more elastic. So I got those instead. I'm like, then I say to him, he must have thought I was crazy. I'm like, do you have any crazy glue? He's like, yeah, I've got crazy glue. He just like kept to himself. He got the crazy glue. He didn't really react that much. Maybe he knew I was doing the right thing. But regardless, I bought crazy glue. So I get back to the car where the girls are, and I pull out the hydrogen peroxide again, pour it on this thing, and then we open the crazy glue, and I seriously just glued it shut. And now it's healed. It's like this cut right here seriously went this deep. There was a hole in my hand, and I simply crazy glued it. Crazy glue, yes, the crazy glue package, that the green crazy glue that you buy at the hardware store, I bought that. I know there's naturalists probably watching me. Oh, that's toxic. Yeah, it might be toxic, but I'm healed in a minute. So now it's just going to heal from the inside out. It's like done. I don't have to deal with it. I don't have to deal with blood pouring out. I don't have to deal with anything. I just glued it. And even on the package of the crazy glue, it says bind skin together in an instant. It's almost like a secret that they can't legally say, but they say it. I should start selling crazy glue. But regardless, I mean, I can do whatever I want now. And this is the biggest cut that I've ever had in my entire life. If I was doing the stupid Band-Aid things and dragon's blood, which is a great thing, the dragon's blood, I'll probably put it on here. But if I was putting that together, I'd be peeling it off. There'd be blood every single day for weeks. But now I'm healed. I can do whatever like I want. Look at this. Like, I could pick things up. Crazy glue. All right. I think some nuts that say organic or raw are not. Like almonds from US are sprayed with toxic stuff. I'm going to buy the ones you have on your store only. Are these all good brands, or do you recommend any? Maybe if you get nuts from Europe or South America. We get our nuts from, these are the almonds that we have at cost right now are from Europe. These are the cleanest and also sproutable nuts, not pasteurized and stuff like that. I would definitely go with it. Warm Fusion writes, got Angela's ebook, Raw Emotions. Such helpful reading through any rough times. Sweet. All right, guys, it's 5:51 and we're out of questions here. This was an incredible hangout. I'm sorry for the time where the sound and the thing cut off, but that was big. There was a lot of important things we covered in here. So that was a lot of fun. I know next week to make sure to utilize my phone internet versus the internet here because it always falls off. And this is Matt Monarch, 50-minute hangout, and it was awesome. Watch the replay if you missed the beginning because it was incredible. There is a delay though because of how everything fell off. And this is Matt Monarch. We'll see you next time at the Raw Food World TV show.